The next thing I'm going to talk about is the way we can select and manipulate objects in the Maya scene. So the following are the basic commands to move and scale and rotate the geometry that you create in Maya. And we're going to use keyboard shortcuts most of the time for these commands, but everything that we're doing can be found in the left hand side of the interface that you see right here. So first off, Q is going to activate the select tool, which is this arrow icon. Basically, you can just click on an object to select it. When that object turns green, you know it's selected. You can also shift select as well to select multiple objects. And when you do that, your first object will turn green, and that first object will always have that green wireframe outline, and all of the other objects will have a white outline. But you know when you have multiple objects in the scene and one has the green outline, that's the last object you selected, and all the objects that have the white wireframe outline, those are selected in that group as well. And you can deselect just by shift clicking with that same select tool, and when the wireframe disappears, you know that the object's no longer selected. W is the move tool. So when you click on the move tool, you can still select objects, but this time around when you select something, you're going to get this icon appearing in the middle of the object, and that icon is basically 3 arrows going in 3 different directions, and each arrow is a different color. And this is called the manipulator in Maya. So the 3 different colors represent 3 different positions. And those positions are going to be represented by a red arrow, a blue arrow, and a green arrow. If one of the arrows is yellow, that means that that arrow in the manipulator is currently selected. And if you click on that arrow, you're going to move in that direction that the arrow is pointing in. So the colors of the arrows correspond to the direction that the arrows are going. So the red arrow is going in the X direction, the green arrow is going in the Y direction, and the blue arrow is going in the Z direction. RGB corresponds with XYZ. That's what you can remember to help you understand which direction you want to move depending on that arrow's color. So you can either click on an arrow and it will constrain it to move in that direction, or you can click on the center, that yellow box, and you can move in any direction you want. Clicking on the object itself too will allow you to move in any direction you want. So that is the move tool, and again the shortcut is W. E is the shortcut for rotate, and you notice that when I click on these different tools, that manipulator changes based on the tool, so it's contextual. So the rotate tool is represented by 3 different colored circles, and again each color represents the direction that you're going to rotate. So clicking on the red circle means I'm rotating in the X direction. If you look to the right here, what you have is the channel box, and you'll notice as I rotate in a particular direction that the values for that channel will change. So if I rotate in the X direction, the rotate X values changes. If I rotate in the blue direction, which is the Z direction, then the Z values will change. And then finally, the last keyboard shortcut to manipulate your objects in space is scaling, and that's represented by R. So again, the manipulator changes. I don't get arrows, I get boxes on the end of the manipulator. Clicking in the center is going to scale in all directions. And then clicking on one colored box in particular, such as red, is going to deform that object and only scale it in one direction. So I can scale it in different directions to basically flatten out the object or to elongate it. So as you work in Maya, you'll be using the move, rotate, and scale modifiers to change your objects in a variety of ways, and you'll use them in combination. And it's always helpful just to remember the WER key, which will let you cycle through those various manipulators to let you do all sorts of different manipulations to your objects.